Such affectionate acceptance.
Put a chicken in, make her gay.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
They were big. They were hitting hard too, man.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Broaden the areas of participation for women.
That sounds very stylish.
What is my problem?
What do you think?
Beat sitting home watching television?
Well, hello. How's everyone doing this evening? I hope everyone's having a great Sunday, late evening, afternoon. Hope you get to wind down. I hope you had a good weekend, for one. I know they are always too brief, but thank you. Thank you for coming out, spending some time with good old Abra. We have a show for you here tonight. Not sure how it's going to go. We'll see how it goes. We've kind of, my guests and myself have kind of been, relaxing a little bit with some different substances. So we'll see how it goes. But without further ado, let me see if I can find a good video to bring our guest in for today. Let's see what we have on the docket. Well, we'll just kind of go with a, let's see. Let's do this.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Hello. Like I said, we'll kind of see how this goes.
Yeah, I was like, "Whoa, shit!" That was my intro.
Yeah, it's a little brief. I have some that are longer, some that are a little bit shorter. We already have a guest here, or someone in the chat. Let's see. We have Dan Genovese. Hey, great to
Let's
see you
go.
there. Woo!
What's up, Dan? What's up, boy?
Yeah, boy. So yeah, as I was saying, chat, I'm kind of enjoying a nice little vodka Red Bull. And Zach, can you tell us what you are enjoying?
I'm enjoying that earthly, girthly herb. You know, the one that we all love, and I smoked that.
Hey, wait, what the Lord giveth, who are we to turn our noses up to it? So
Right.
I also enjoy the bud every so often, but it's usually to help me wind down and go to sleep. And I want to be, jazzed and everything. So that's why
yeah.
I kind of had to put a little Red Bull in my stuff. So
When the Lord
let's see.
giveth, the weed has been smoketh.
Yeah, exactly. Praise him. I was just looking on Twitter and somebody was showing some really weird, like it was a Jesus on the cross transformer thing.
I saw that too. Oh my god! I was just getting, I was just started smoking. I was like, am I looking at that right? Gundam Jesus over here.
Yeah, come again? Like what? Let me see. We have Gab in the chat. Hey, chat, all three of us. Well, more people are coming in, the kind of drip in. Nothing wrong with that. I was just commenting on that Jesus transformer. I saw not a transformer. I saw an action figure of Jesus. I didn't know what to make of it. It was this weird store in St. Augustine, Florida. Are you familiar with St. Augustine?
Not the area. I've only been to Florida once for, what is it? Universal Studios. Like that.
Yeah. That's the thing to do. It used to be Disney. Disney got a little weird. So yeah, now the place to go to is Universal, especially when they're going to be opening up the Super Mario World and their new park, kind of all part of that. I don't know what they're calling it. It's, you have Disney World and then you have the Universal, with Islands of Adventure and now this new park. So I'm not sure what the whole, grouping of it is called. But yeah. So anyway, in Florida, we have supposed to be the oldest city in the country. And St. Augustine, Florida. It's supposed to be where Ponce de Leon landed to find the Fountain of Youth. But anyway, so people like to go through there, walk through the old city. And I went through this shop and they had these religious action figures. So one of the things was Jesus with gliding action. So he has his hands up and it's one of those things where you pull back and it's the friction thing.
Oh
And
my goodness.
yeah, you pull it back and it's like, ooh, you know. I didn't know whether to be, uplifted and inspired, for our Lord, or to just kind of put it down because it's blasphemous. I mean, I kind of respect that somebody was trying to get a little religious toy out there in the hands of the young folks, but yeah,
That's
Jesus with
crazy.
gliding action. Oh man, what are they
Uh,
gonna have? The floating Noah, like if he falls off the ark, he can
all
just
right,
kind of.
let's not sit there and act like the action figure line or the accessories to these characters as like additional add-ons would be like pretty dope.
Yeah,
Because then
yeah,
his like what his animals are like all like attack animals. So like Noah's Ark is like this big battle boat that's coming in
yeah.
with animals like all geared up with their own like side missiles on their bodies and whatnot. That like,
You kind of you blend it in with like Transformers or something. Like the what did they call the animal Transformers? They were.
oh what a Dino Beast or was it
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, well, I
something.
mean, so if those were the actual, if if Jesus was the action figure in his series line of would be like Moses and all the other like biblical figures, right? And then what is like the plague, what do you call it, battle sets? Like,
Yeah.
are those the plagues in Egypt? So like,
Oh
you
my
got to go
god.
from
Yeah.
stage one. Yeah,
Oh
damn.
Lord. Yes, please forgive me. Don't strike me down. So yeah, anyway, Zach. Do you prefer to go by Zach or Zachary?
I don't matter, man. It don't matter.
Okay, well, how about Zach? We'll go with Zach. So thank you for joining me today. I've kind of seen your book that you're promoting, in Twitter and everything through the various feeds as people have been promoting your book and whatnot. And I was attracted to it because it's a little bit different. A lot of people do kind of the superhero thing, or horror comics have kind of become popular again, but yours is a nice sci-fi story here. And let me go ahead and share my screen. Let's see. Do-do-do. Okay, and share that on screen. All right. So yours, like I said, is this awesome sci-fi story called Voyage, and this is going to be the first issue. Any idea, or can you tell us how many issues you plan for this story here, this sci-fi story?
I definitely want this series to go on for like past issue 20. Like I want it to keep going. There's
Yeah,
no stop to it. Um, so for the first issue for to kick that off, that run off, I wanted to make it 40 pages. Make it bigger on the first issue and then go back to the regular, standard comic book count would be, which would be like
yeah,
22, 24.
yeah. I love the idea that it's sci-fi, but also some humor in there. Let me see here. Oh, looks like super chat here. $2 from Travis Perrick. Thank you so much, Travis. Do you think Eric July is a narcissist? Is that directed to both of us or just myself? Or I don't know. Do you care to comment on that,
Air
Zach?
July. All right. It's because I'm under the influence. I want to double check. Like, is being a narcissist? That's somebody that's all about themselves, that doesn't care
Yes.
for anybody else in any form of connection at all, as long as it benefits them at the end of the day.
Yes, they kind of have that mentality that the world revolves about around them. Like they're the smartest person in the room. Um,
I
it,
eh, you know, I'm not gonna knock on Eric July. I don't know him well enough to make a comment whether I know that he is or he isn't. It's just more of he is producing content, and I try to not involve my business as a freelancer. As a Cuba school student and graduate, trying to
yeah,
represent the school. I can't speak on something I don't know, and I try not to involve my business into other people's. if I have nothing to do with it from the start.
Yeah,
It's
I
just to
think
hear me
that's a
out.
very good stance to take. Um, I will say, just as kind of like an outside observer, I don't, I'm just here on YouTube giving my 2 cents. But just as an outside observer, I back several campaigns. I didn't back his campaign just because, I wasn't a part of that whole, his sphere on YouTube. Um, so I didn't really follow him, and I wasn't really, aware of the comic book until, the whole drama of ISOM kind of came over to our side
Yeah.
of the YouTube sphere. What I've seen is I think he needs to work on, being able to accept criticism, and that's not easy for anyone to do. It's hard when especially if you think that your stuff is just like the cat's meow, it's the bomb or whatever the cool kids are saying these days. It's hard when somebody picks apart work that you've put a lot of effort into. But I think that his response is just kind of feeding, feeding the trolls, so to speak. So,
Well, well, anybody who's a troll will find anything, just in general. It may not
yeah,
just be. I mean, the
yeah,
criticism thing. I do catch up to date with everything that happens on the social media drama. Like, I know the situation. I just don't know the people directly to the point where I can comment on their business, because once I
right.
do, that gets me thrown into the mix that I have no business being involved in. But what if I would make a comment, personally, on my experience being, a Cuban school grad, like, I had to learn how to draw artwork. So I
Yes.
was going to get critiqued constantly. And, due to that, I can take the harshest criticism because it's nothing personal. Sometimes people will critique you just for being an ass. Other people, but most of the time, the people that will critique you generally want to see the next product that you're making be better.
Right.
And I still making and it's a hell of an accomplishment, because when you have independent creators or people that's been in the business for so long launch their own comic campaigns and they'll hit like 600,000, so on and so forth, those are great. But then you have some guy who has no skin in the game come in all of a sudden and then hits $1 million on his comic campaign. That is an absolute hell of an accomplishment and
Yeah.
achievement, because it's a talk that can basically tell anybody in the independent field that such a possibility can be hit. You can achieve that
Well,
because
to
somebody
an
just hit that
extent,
tone.
because I think a lot of it was just, his fan base, his supporters, they love
Absolutely.
him. So a lot of it was just to throw support behind him. I'm sure a lot of the people that purchased ISOM #1 backed it because, hey, this guy, I love this YouTuber, I love what he has to say. I want to show support. So let me go ahead and buy this comic. And a lot of them might not have been, necessarily comic book fans. Not that there's anything wrong with that. You're definitely, if you want to show support and stand behind somebody that you like, there's definitely nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
Um,
I could
but
be wrong, but I do believe I remember it too. Like, I could be wrong, but I do believe that EVS also had a hand in pushing it to be as big as it was because of that variant cover he did.
yeah, I do
Wh-
remember EVS plugging it for sure,
Yeah.
and I know that was like part of the part of the debate too. Eric not supporting some of the uh, you know the smaller creators, the ones that are just trying to gain exposure. And he just didn't want to rep them because he felt like it didn't have anything to do with his business. Um, but yeah, to get back to what Travis Perrick was saying, it's really hard to take criticism. It's really hard, to have people talk negatively about what you're doing. Um, but it's also good to kind of step back from the equation a little bit and just kind of take all the input in from everybody and uh, parse through everything and see what I hate the idea of what people were saying, legitimate criticism or illegitimate or whatever, and he's just saying people are haters. I think somebody brought up the point, if somebody said that Isom should have been, wearing a purple outfit, that's not exactly legitimate. But when they're saying, perhaps you should do something other than 3D assets, if people are going to pay $35 or however much for a book, then that's definitely worth listening to.
Oh yeah, because at the end of the day, like you have when you're and I sometimes I forget it because I'm so wrapped up into the content that I'm trying to create and
Right,
whatnot.
right.
So there's going to be an aspect where you have the creators that make comic books that are trying to make a really good product to sell to the people. The way that we handle is we need to know how to make our product better, and that's
Right.
what, because we're doing it for the people to get recognized, so people, more and more people will know us and buy commissions and whatnot. But on the other hand, you got these individuals who don't know how to draw, who don't know how to create comics, but they are a fan of reading and collecting. They also have a say in it, where if I'm going to go ahead and invest like 15 minutes of my time for you, you know, then these are some of the things that you should not do to screw up and possibly make your next, thing you make better. So that way
Yeah.
they can come back as a fan. And that's long-term money earning than the short term where you're just going to get the immediate profit that you can from a campaign. And then because people are pissed at you and you don't implement, some of the things that they're saying, you're going to not earn that much for the next time you hit a campaign.
Right, right.
Now, I should be one to talk as like, what is it? I'm 4 campaigns trying on mine, so I have a lot to
Yes.
learn, but I'm definitely not hating on people, and I do take criticism as
Well,
much as I can.
let's kind of, expound on that a little bit. The last thing you said, in terms of, you said your fourth campaign. Uh, is this your fourth campaign with Voyage, trying
Yeah,
to get it to see the light?
yeah.
Um, and what have you kind of learned along the way? What do you think, maybe hurted, or, what do you think that you're doing? What are you trying to do, I guess, to improve?
This is my brutal response to that, is that when it comes to crowdfunding, um and my personal point of view, a lot of and I think the proper term is speculators that buy products,
Hmm.
because they think that your name is going to be worth something. They're giving it a shot, and so that way they either a flip it or hold on to it till it raises in value. I think the way that crowdfunding, from that time frame when I first got in to now, a lot of them are pulling out because there's a lot of products that are overpriced, due to through the year. So if somebody's going to buy a tier for like $40 for just a comic book, and then they try to sell or flip it or whatever after they enjoyed it, then they'll realize that the money they paid doesn't even come close to what it's actually valued. So there's been situations where people have bought Brian Polito's Kickstarter Lady Death, and then they try to flip it, and then they get less than half of them what they paid for and whatever. And I think, obviously Brian Polito is the king of Kickstarter. There's merit to his name, but for
Mhm.
somebody like me, where I'm trying to break into the crowdfunding scene, and I have to properly assess the price of my tiers so it's affordable to people, where it doesn't, oversell, because I'm trying to give what is valued in today's like cost of comics, because
Yeah.
comics are expensive. Now
Well,
you go in
everything's expensive now with
yeah,
the economy.
freaking
Well, let me just
sorry.
interject for a moment too. Do you think that, or I guess in your experience, do you find that most of your backers, or just people that have been backing comics in Comicsgate in general, are doing it to, like, from a speculator standpoint, a collector standpoint? Or for myself, it's different. I get, sure, I get a couple of the different variants to collect, but for the most part, I want the experience of reading an interesting story. But I mean, in your experience, do you find that that necessarily might not be the number one issue? That the number one issue might be, from a collector standpoint.
No, I wouldn't say it has speculator for that question. It's not It's not there. Most of the people that are backing campaigns, they're backing it because they want to give whoever they're a fan of a shot, for the next
Hmm.
product they're coming out with. And to the people
Yeah.
they never met before, it really boils down to a lot of networking. I've networked with a lot of people, but the problem with me is that I don't have an audience. I don't have a following. So therefore, the network and the connections I got to make is through the people that I have to reach out to constantly. And so I have to try to find a solution where I'm like, okay, for me, I got to put down indie stuff for a little bit and try
Hmm.
to get published, like some of my work published in some of these companies to build some connection there. Because a lot of the times, a lot of these people that pick up and read comics, they're gonna know your name from stuff they pick up at a shop, not on social media. So when I go ahead and I launch a campaign, I know for me, it's an audience thing. I don't have a following.
Do you I guess when you hear someone like John Malin say, grab an oar, you have to build your own platform and kind of curate your own audience and then build upon that. Um, do you feel like that is, I guess, sound advice, or do you think that there should be another uh, direction or avenue that creators should be taking, or is it just should it be based on an individual? I know not everyone is cut out to be on YouTube. And not everyone likes that, just putting themselves out there. It's kind of a necessary evil. You do have to put yourselves out there so people can come to know you and learn a little bit about your work. But um, what are your thoughts on that?
John Malin's what he said, where you got to build your own ore. He's absolutely right. Because I mean, let's be real here. Like, I'll be fortunate enough if I pop on either Van Skyver's show, or if John Malin himself invited me on the show, or anybody else. You know, I have to do the work myself,
Yeah.
because people that have a following to them, they know to some extent that if I give this kid some airtime, he's going to possibly accrue a lot of people that, if they do like him, they're going to be fans of him as well. So, and they know that, because that's the scene that they built up themselves through their career. For me, I have to do a lot of the work myself, prove that I am fortunate enough to be invited on somebody else's show, and I have to keep applying that hard work in. So eventually, when I do build it up, I can be fortunate enough where I can, finally hit that niche where an audience just finally started to flow in from that point. Because I
Yeah.
know once I attain that audience, I can hold on to that due to who I am as a person. But yeah, it's tough. You have to do it the hard way.
Yeah, for
Work it.
sure. Do you try to get into comic shops? Like, you know, is one of the things that you would consider just going maybe shop to shop and see if they would carry your book, something like that?
I just recently moved out of Manchester, New Hampshire, so
Oh, wow.
um I have started doing that. But for the while, I was really just trying to make sure that my comics that I was making at the moment were getting better and better, so the quality's there, for one. And two, leaving the Keeper School, I invested all my time and effort to try to make sure that the story itself is good, and that when it
Yeah.
comes to making the books, I can go ahead and think, I'd be like, these are kind of ready to be sold in stores. I'm
Mhm.
super critical of, like, the work that I provide, because I don't want people to feel cheapened out when they pay this much money, and this is the quality I'm giving them.
For sure. So let's go ahead and take a look. Can you tell me, like, what was your inspiration for Voyage? Have you always been a fan of sci-fi or alien stories? What made you go this route with the comic?
I've always was damn. I always loved aliens when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And it was funny because my first memory of seeing, like, an alien, which was on an action figure that my father had from his toy collection, scared the hell out of me. And it scared me so bad I had to take the alien and, like, throw it in the trash.
My God,
And
what action figure was it?
it was your typical gray. The big
Mm,
eyes, the skinny body, the the green or gray skin that they have. It
yeah.
just weirded me out. And But then I got older, I'm like, my fascination of it just like carried on. That I loved the sci-fi films and
Yeah.
even just drawing. But it actually was when the Green Lantern movie came out, that terrible film with Ryan Reynolds. You
It
know,
was pretty bad.
it was horrible. Like
And I love
I
Ryan
saw that.
Reynolds, but oh,
Yeah, and I saw that in theaters, and I was like, "Damn, this sucks. I'll make my own like lantern character." So I made my own Blue Lantern because that was my favorite color, for that core. And
they
it was
were
like,
Hope, right? The blue one was
yeah,
Hope.
it was Hope,
Yeah.
and I was like, but then I looked at it years later, and I'm like, "Damn, I could make this my own race or like of aliens, change everything." And then I started, working on that. But when I got into the school, then that's when my writing really kicked in. I was like doing draft after draft, like creating every inch of it from the appearance to its origin until I finally got it in my third year out.
Jabba's just putting his input there. Ryan Reynolds owns Wrexham Football Club.
I don't even know what a Wrexham is. Wreck-It Ralph, Wrexham.
Wrexham
Like,
football is he means not American football, but British football. Our friend Jabba is from the other side of the pond, so thank you for popping in, Jabba. It's always good to see you. I can't wait for your first insult of the evening. But yeah, my first, I'm a little bit older than you. My first exposure to aliens was E.T.
Damn.
Yeah, which I thought was, it kind of cute at the time. I haven't actually watched it in many moons. I've heard it doesn't really hold up on subsequent viewings as you get older, but I don't know. I was a little bit ticked off because Steven Spielberg did that whole George Lucas thing, where it's like, oh, let me go in and change it. It's like, dude, just because you have the power to do so doesn't mean you should do it. Like, just keep stuff. Here we go, Jabba. Here he goes. That's right. I am. Now hush up. So, and then my second experience, because we were in the whole the VHS tape. I don't know if you're familiar with VHS tapes.
Oh, I know. I grew up with VHSs too.
Yeah, with the VCR and everything. But we used to go.
I had like the Disney movies, like the Disney VHS that were like masterwork framing, golden trim.
Those are worth some money now.
Are you? Damn. Man,
yeah.
okay.
So hold on to them. Like, especially certain covers are worth some money. But there was this terrible movie, I guess, that was trying to like ride off the success of E.T. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but it was called Mac and Me.
I've heard of the name. It just it doesn't come to mind.
It's horrible. I have to share this with you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna torture you and the audience. Because why not? Let's see here. Turn that up. Yeah, so keep in mind, this is kind of like a low budget, cheap knockoff version of E.T. This is like your Walmart E.T. Let's see. Kid just kind of enjoying nature as one does. Yeah. You're going to want to run out and get this as soon as you finish watching this. See how diverse everything was then? You have a handicapped child there just enjoying nature.
Oh my God. This is so weird. Come on.
Yeah, this is what you do when you're in a wheelchair and you're 10 years old. Oh no. Uh-oh. Oh no. Brakes. Brakes would have been a good idea on that incline there, or that decline. Don't you hate it when that happens to your wheelchair? Yeah, just a tragedy. Oh, good thing there's your
That's
little
what
alien.
that is?
That is Mac, yeah. Says push him. Yeah, this was going to be the next.
Is he an
ET.
alien or a goblin?
He is an alien. He has powers too. Wait for it.
Oh, now she comes out.
Yeah, where was Mom before? Child neglect.
Oh, he was naked.
Oh yeah, coming to the rescue there.
Say something! Did you see him? What? The little creature! I can't believe he did this.
It's all right, Mom. I'll go get it.
So it's his fault?
I guess. I mean, I
Oh
don't
my
know.
God.
It's like what I just
Damn.
I don't know. But I mean
That
that
was
was
some ugly ass thing.
that
That
was
thing was great.
Chava says he looks like a child molester. Which one? The alien? The mom? The brother? I don't know. They're all freaky. But that was my era. That's right, Jabba. But yeah, your alien is cool. Your alien is not like the alien from Mac and Me. Your alien has guns. He has looks like he has some bulk on him. So your inspiration was, he said, watching the Green Lantern. You hated it. You wanted to kind of do your own thing, your own species race thing. And so you came up with this cool alien name. Was it Sonderon? Sonderon?
Yeah. Hey, no, you had it right the first time. Sonderon.
Sonderon. Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you come up with that name?
When it comes to me, like I like researching names, like definitions of like the meanings and whatnot. So the basic definition for like what I wanted to name the character, I was looking at Voyage and I'm like, all right, well, Voyage, it's about a journey of this one alien, and he's going to go through hell, and back, for some of the things that he's got to do in his for obstacles. So I was like, okay, so he's a traveler and an explorer. What can I find? So there was a word called sonder, and sonder by definition is when you're sitting in a coffee shop and you're looking out the window and you look at these 20 people that are walking up and down the street and you try to think to yourself, you're like, I wonder what life would be like, in their shoes. So I was like, okay, that's a cool, like, cool name, name Sonder. So I was trying to make it sci-fi-y. So I was like,
Yeah.
Sondarian, Sondaria, like just trying to pronounce it in different ways. And then I landed on Sonderon, and I said it about
Sonderon.
1,000 times throughout the whole week. And then I was like, I like this name. This is what he's going
Yeah.
to be named.
Sounds cool. Yeah, I dig it. And so he's a little bit of a misfit, kind of troublemaker. Is that kind of what what
He is
he's all about?
he is in his own star system. He was the village idiot, and he got exiled from his own clan, and he left his
Oh,
star system through. He had his own little hero's journey in his star system, and then when he got exiled out of the star system, issue 1 takes place on the first place he landed on when he got exiled. So at this point, he really is more gullible to its truest form, because he's like that teenager where life hits him like real hard when he leaves his
yeah.
parents' house. You think you know the world, but you don't know at all.
A
And that's the
surprise.
part where in his life is where he's at.
This little pod chamber thing, was this like a punishment kind of thing? Was he forced to go in this pod? What's this all about?
So when he got exiled, one of the things that he was gifted was a ship that he can literally live on, throughout his days and whatnot. So it was filled with food and everything, all the resources need. He's got a place where he passes out, where like, when he got exiled, he was put to sleep in a cryogenic chamber. And the ship is an AI, that runs
Oh,
the whole
nice.
thing.
Yeah.
So in this issue, he meets the AI officially, because this is where he wakes up. This is his waking up moment, and so now he does have bedroom, but he's gonna get to that later on.
It was kind of like they shoved him in the ship in this pod, and they're like, "All right, you're trouble. We're gonna give you a chance, but we're just gonna kind of,
Pretty much.
you're out here on your own.
Pretty much, yeah.
Do what you need to do, but we wipe our hands of you."
So for him, his hero's quest right now, he's forced with this burden where he's got to find this artifact that is broken into many pieces and is just spread throughout the ends of the universe. He's forced
Yeah,
with the burden of finding these pieces.
I was reading about that earlier. So let me see. They were talking about, yeah, the overarching arching story. Eons ago, a broken promise altered the universe when an artifact called the Sphere of Nod. I like that. It sounds almost, like Irish or something. Derived from that promise, was shattered and scattered throughout all the corners of a multitude of galaxies. So there are lost shards that remain waiting for someone to find them and restore the universe once more, bringing eternal peace. So, can you elaborate on what this sphere is, this sphere of Nod, without giving, I guess, as
I
much as you
gotcha.
can tell us?
No, I gotcha. So the Spirinod is actually the universal. It's kind of like the Ark of the Covenant, to
Oh,
us.
okay.
It's one of the most holiest of relics, but this relic actually has a purpose. So, Sondron's ancestors made a deal with the god of gods, Rythar. They didn't fulfill on their promise. A weapon that their god Rythar gave them helped them in their promise, to what they given him. And when damn, I'm stammering.
That
Sorry,
weed's coming back, man.
it's kicking in, bro.
I know, right?
The artifact was given to Sondron's ancestors to fix a problem that they were currently facing in that moment. In return, they were going to help their god out with something. They
How,
didn't
how does
fulfill on
the
that.
artifact work? Is it, can you use it to create things, destroy
You
things, a
can
little bit of
you can
both? Or
it's an endless the thing has endless possibility to what it can actually do, but its purpose, it was meant as a weapon to be used in a big Fantastic Four Jack Kirby type of machine to
okay,
power up something and use it as an ultimate weapon. And Saunders' ancestors didn't fulfill that promise, so their God Rythar came down and split their planet into four quadrants. So after years and years of time that went by, Sondron is a byproduct of his ancestry. He has no knowledge of the religion and the artifact itself. The burden is force, but he doesn't know anything. He just knows the basic story. So when he
hmm,
goes out of his star system, he's the first one of his own kind to do that. And he realizes that um, over time, there's a lot of xenophobia to him that is closely tied to his species. And he finds that out because he's like, when he leaves and he arrives on the first planet outside of his system, he gets hated on big time, and it has everything to do with the old religion, the old
they
lore.
they didn't fulfill, like, they know that his people didn't fulfill the promise of.
Yeah. And
Okay.
it's over time. It's like, reading the Bible. Like,
Hmm.
Bible tells us stories that happened in old. We weren't there to witness it. It's there to give us a warning and to teach us of the thing that's happened and,
Right.
provide faith. But, um, with Sondron, he doesn't know that yet. He doesn't know the close attachment to his ancestors with the artifact, and it's like telephone. The story is skewed to an
Right.
extreme. So he finds he finds out what really happens over time. His true
I
inner self,
gotcha.
his history, his roots.
Is this going to be an all ages comic, or maybe teen
Teens.
and teens? Gotcha.
It
Okay,
goes teens and up.
teens and up. And will this issue one be a complete story in itself, and then kind of elaborate on that, or does it end on a cliffhanger, or what can we look forward to with this?
So the way I ended it, it's definitely a cliffhanger, but it also kind of gives you like that moment, be like, oh, this is a cool story. You can kind of sit on this part in the story in itself and be like, yeah, this is like pretty cool. I like this.
Yeah,
And if they want to stop there, they can stop there. But I do leave on a cliffhanger where they can keep picking it up.
gotcha.
And the first issue really delves into getting the reader to recognize who this individual is. I want them to know who the character is, and a little bit, just a little bit of his history,
Yeah,
and just kind of get a sense. It's a good first impression. But I do have 2 stories in it. So the backup story
Yeah, I saw
shows
that.
the cool part.
Let me scroll down. Okay, so the first part is called Principium.
Principium.
Principium. Try saying
Yeah.
that 10 times fast.
Yeah.
Especially when you get drinking. So let's see. So we'll go down a little bit here, and then the okay. So the follow-up story is called Force Play, and 8-page bonus story. So okay, so tell us about that a little bit.
It's your basic smash and grab type of story where Sonderon and these group of bounty hunters are tasked with finding this artifact and bring it back to whoever hired them. Then you find out that, you know, the same person, that hired each of them was the same guy. And Sonderon already has the artifact, so it's a cool short story where I can show the reader like what Sonderon is capable of in a fight.
Hmm.
And just he is his species is a Cometan, and just him, as a Cometan, he's just more physically inclined than most aliens out there.
Hence him being ripped and all that kind of
Yeah,
stuff. Yeah. I just want to say too that I love the art, and the colorist that you have too complements everything really well. I like the look of it. Just very, very interesting to look at.
thank you.
Let's see. Did you base him on anything, or did you just did you have an initial idea of what you wanted Sonderon to look like?
It,
Or
it's
did
crazy
it
because like,
evolve over time?
oh, it evolved. Like, it's crazy because I have things that are inspirations to me that help make, the series possible. But when it came to designing characters, I don't like to base it off of any of the characters that already exist or any. If I'm trying to
Right.
create a character, I'm trying to really, really create its look without
Yeah, you
copying
want it to be
anything
your own. Yeah.
unique, because it's something I don't want to look back on a year later and feel like I don't like that. It looks very similar to something. Now, if the fans can go ahead and think it's similar to something else, that's totally fine. But I know deep down inside, I've made the work. I've done the work where I can make sure that this is something unique to me and
Right.
the story that I'm giving it. So, um, yeah, like I've had different facial designs. Like at first, he didn't have a mouth. He was gonna have like 4 divots on the bottom of his chin to
Huh.
speak. But I realized, I'm like, well, if he is talking and he's the main character, I think I need to give him a mouth.
Yeah, and then he can have, more facial reactions. So if you're trying
Yeah,
to show him having emotion to a certain situation, yeah, I think having a mouth really helps with that. I like this one character, this kind of, it looks almost like Anubis inspired a little bit, kind of a dog like character here. That's
I
cool
was actually
looking.
just looking at reptiles.
Reptiles.
Yeah, just kind of, I want to be like, all right, I want a reptile race, and
Yeah.
then that's what I was just looking at, like the Toras, Komodo dragons,
Oh, yeah.
I forget what the lizard that has like the fan on its neck, but yeah, that's where I kind of got some of those designs from.
Was it a Gila monster or something like that? I heard a weird story the other day on the news. For some reason, people always like to own exotic pets that kill them or that are capable of killing them. I like watching Discovery Channel or Nature Channel or something like that, and viewing them from afar. But um, this guy had one of those. Was in I don't think it was a Gila monster, or I can't even remember what it's called. But what are those ones that they produce the saliva that's supposed to be so poisonous?
Was it Komodo
Uh,
dragon?
Something like that. And he had it as a pet. Like, why in the hell would you want it as a pet? But yeah, I guess somehow it attacked him and bit him, and the poison ended up, causing him to die. So, um,
Damn, dude.
yeah, again,
Damn.
another reason. Same thing, like people who own venomous snakes. I'm not a fan of snakes. I love all creatures, but I don't want a snake in my house. Um, yeah,
I
but
mean,
owning a
keep the spiders out too. No,
yeah, the
thank you.
spiders out too. And I try to be kind. If I find a little, little cute spider. I try to usher it outside, get like a glass or something, cover it up and take it out. I always think like, what if God viewed me as this little tiny bug and just squashed me? I wouldn't want that to happen to me. So I try to show compassion to our animal, neighbors or whatever. But yeah, snakes, I'm not a fan of. I don't think, that we should wipe them out of existence. I just don't think we really need to keep them as pets.
No, I agree on that.
Especially the poisonous ones. But my God. So yeah, that was my reptile kind of segue there.
No,
But yeah, like I said, the character designs are really cool. I like how unique they look. Let me move this screen here. My first impression of Aliens, you were talking about how that figure of the gray kind of scared you when you were a kid. There was this show, I don't know if you've ever heard of it, called Unsolved Mysteries.
Yep.
Freaking scariest theme song ever for a show. I listened to it. It still freaks me the heck out. But and Robert Stack, the co-host of that show back in the day, was just terrifying. But that was my first introduction to aliens and the concept of alien abductions and all that kind of stuff. And they were always abducting people and inserting things into them. And I was like, why? Like, what the heck?
I'll tell you one movie that really it scared the hell out of me, dude, was called The Forgotten.
The Forgotten?
Pretty much, yeah, where it's pretty much like this woman, she has a son, and then next thing you know, the next day happens, and the son was like never there, like never existed. It was like a figment of
what
her,
the
or whatever.
hell?
And she knew she had a son.
Yeah.
And like, even the people she go to, like whatever, and it's like comes to find out that she was an experiment, that aliens were just like watching. But there's a scene where there's an alien super calm, and a human, like it's a human, but
Right.
the alien's disguising itself as one, and it's in a soft voice, it's like, we want you to forget. And and he's like, fuck you, like, where's my son? And
Yeah,
he's
it's her
like,
child. Like she wants to forget. My God.
yeah, and then he goes, you need to and he yells out, forget. But that's when his head started changing shape, like because of the dark room that he was in, and the way the light was casting, it was like you could see the eyes like sink in, the brain get I was like, what dude,
was he like one of those gray
classic
I don't
gray.
know.
Yeah, I was like, holy shit. I was like 9 years old watching that.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so unsettling.
That'll leave a scar on your psyche for sure. Yeah, the same thing with Unsolved Mysteries. I swear to God, I think I just have permanent trauma from that show. But yeah, they would show stories where people, would report missing time, like they were driving or, they were in their room, saw a bright light. The next thing they knew, it was like 24 hours later and everything. And then they were talking about how they'd have a weird pain or something, and they'd go to the doctor and they'd end up pulling something out of their nose or their neck. There was some sort of metal object. It's like, oh my God, that's crazy.
Oh.
Ugh. Then
stay less, man, because like,
yeah,
I'll tell you, the documentaries can get you good too. Like the Bob Lazar documentary was insane, dude.
There's weird stuff out there, and I don't know if aliens exist. I think anything is possible. Of course, I haven't actually seen one with my own two eyes, but I'm not going to say like definitively they don't exist or whatever. Are they from other planets? Are they from other dimensions? I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. But there are people out there that certainly believe that these experiences that they've had are real. And there's like you were talking about a movie. There was a movie I saw called Fire in the Sky about this guy that was abducted, and they had this
dude,
terrifying scene where like, he's strapped down, he can't move, and the thing's coming towards his eye. I mean, that was just horrifying. Can you imagine just this metal thing slowly coming towards your eye and you're awake? You can't do anything about it. Oh, let me see. Aviator Surge is saying, I got abducted by an Amazonian warrior and she turned me into a husband. Help. I don't know. Is she treating you okay? That's exactly what happened to me 27 years ago. Is this your anniversary? Does it warrant a congratulations? I hope you're happy, aviator. um, Hey, that's my good friend, Tattooed Biker. You would be amazed at some of the reports people email me, Abra. Uh, if you haven't, if you like the unexplained, the mysterious, the kind of supernatural, please sub to my friend Tattooed Biker's YouTube channel because he puts out shorts and also long form videos where he covers this stuff, disappearances, weird occurrences, stuff like that. And if you're, in the middle of doing chores or something around the house, it's great to throw that on and just I love listening to your voice, Tattooed Biker. It's nice to just put that on and take care of a task and then also get kind of freaked out at the same time because some of those stories are a little creepy. So he'll
That's
cover
why
stuff,
I like.
aliens and Bigfoot and all that good stuff. Sorry, what was that?
No, I was gonna say that's why like just hearing you talk about that because I'm like it's like another reason why I like this comic book is because the
Yeah.
comic is weird, and I love sci-fi, but when I think of sci-fi, I think of like aliens, like
Yeah.
even if the character itself, the main character, I think it should be an alien,
Yeah.
keep the humans out of it, just really go crazy with the sci-fi element and just like look at an alien do some cool shit.
Yeah, like I said, I love the look of him. He has almost kind of an ancient, maybe Egyptian inspired motif with the what do they call them, the wrist guard gauntlet things there, and the loincloth and the shin guards and everything. It looks really cool, and I do like how you took the concept of where he has the head shape of the gray type aliens, but then he has just this beefy body. Looks like he could really take care of himself. It's really cool.
Oh,
Let me
his dog is also good too. Like mm,
his I'm sorry, his what?
his dog, it's a chimera, but that thing, man, can hold its own. Like he looks
Yeah.
cool with on there. Oh man.
I like the idea of the alien dog. Okay, let me see what's my friend Jabba saying here. Uh well, first tattooed biker, my friend here. You were too kind to Abra. I've been here lurking, LOL. Well, I appreciate you lurking. It's great. And then Jabba, go ahead. You could talk now, woman. Well, I'm glad I have your approval, Jabba. Oh, I love Jabba. Um, yeah, let me see where. Let me pull up here where you have the alien creature, right? And then we'll touch back on the statue thing because that's pretty cool. I like that. So let's go up and look at Sonderon's awesome dog sidekick. Is it further up?
It's
Ah, here we
right
go.
there.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah,
It,
he's like a mix between like a spider and a dog, like a Great Dane. No, and
I
a
like that.
horse. There's also a horse like mix in there too.
Is what's his intelligence level? Does he have the intelligence of a dog, or is he, on the same level as Sonderon?
It's got the same intelligence. Like the thing can play chess.
Dang.
That's yeah. Like there's like there's an anthology book I did, and I had a buddy of mine do a 2-page story, and it's him and his and his dog playing chess with each other, and the dog beats him at chess. And he's like, "God damn it! How do you win every time?"
It kind of reminds me of Chewie in Star Wars, where it's like, you better let him win. Don't beat him. Do you mind? Let me go ahead and play the video here that you have. Let's see. Let's go ahead and Nice. Like that
Oh my
video.
god. Thank you.
Yeah, Tattooed Biker says, comic looks great. Excited to see this one. I was thinking that too. It looks like a lot of fun. Like I said,
Oh,
I
did he
like.
back?
Pardon?
Did he back?
I don't know. Let's see. When will
Oh,
we?
excited.
I know. I'm kind of nervous. Well, not yet, but we shall see. We shall see. But yeah, everything just it looks like a lot of fun, and that's what I kind of look for in the comics that I back. I want something that looks unique, looks fun, and it's definitely apparent that you really care about the story, and that this is something special to you.
Oh yeah. Um, it's because it's what it's for me. What I think is because this is my niche. Like when I was
Yeah,
in humor school, I couldn't really figure out my sense of direction artwork wise. And when I was always creating this, and then I was like working on it, I realized that this is kind of like my niche, where people can separate, kind of get me noticed to some extent. Where when people think about, like me, they'll think of Sonderon. When people think of Sonderon, they're gonna be like, "Oh, that's Zachary's character."
yeah.
It can separate me from a lot of people.
When you gave him a voice, like who would you say? I mean, did you model him after anybody?
If
Did you
he
draw
was to
it?
talk, he would have the voice of the guy's name. I forget his name at the moment. The guy who voiced Spawn from the HBO series.
Oh, nice, nice.
Because Sonderon, he's not that individual in a crowd that will be the center of attention. He's probably the guy in the corner of like a bar while everybody's having a bar fight. He doesn't want to be seen. Don't talk to him, kind of thing. Like he
Yeah.
loves talking to people, but he's very mysterious. He keeps to himself. He doesn't want to cause any trouble. So
Mhm.
when he talks, he's got that nice, deep, dark tone.
Oh, nice. And do we see his personality? Like, as the story progresses, will we see his personality evolve over time?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He's an emotional type of character, and I think even in issue one, like in issue one, you see there's a segment where Sonderon's in the marketplace and he's monologuing to himself, and you can just kind of see like his face reactions, how he's taking to talking to the crowd for the first time, and then just being used to it, and the way he's talking about his old home versus where he's at now, you can
Yeah.
get a good sense of where this guy's at in his life, and hopefully get a connection from that. Like he's a foreigner in an unknown world.
Yeah. I kind of like those stories, um, where it's kind of, a stranger in a strange land kind of thing. I was trying to think of like, good Lord, Vivaka's hit me really hard all of a sudden.
Dude,
Dances with
it's like it takes a lot out of me right now. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of like
It's
best
like brain
answers that I could
cells.
come up with. Yeah, they're
Brain
dying.
cells, please work. Yeah, they're just going.
Like,
But no, Dances with Wolves is kind of what I was thinking. He comes in and he's just, they're like, stranger, you're an intruder. What are you doing here? And then he eventually, kind of earns the trust of the native peoples, and becomes sympathetic to their cause, and helps them, and essentially ends up becoming one of them at the end. So, oh, awesome one said, Afro Samurai Stranger in a Strange Land. I remember that back in the day. That was what, Samuel L. Jackson who did the voice for that show.
I don't think I've seen that.
I didn't watch the series, but I remember from the promos that I saw, the art style and everything about it seemed to just really intriguing. I need to go back and watch some of this classic stuff. But let's see here. Let's go over the tiers real quick. I've kind of been skipping over that. You have, of course, the support tier. If you want to just, maybe you don't want a comic or whatever, but you still want to show some love and support to the project. Where they have that available here, where you can make a pledge. You offer what's called the holographic PDF. So for those who want to maybe take their comics on the go, read it on whatever digital device they have, $5. That's a really good entry point. So definitely reasonable there. Issue 1, this is, let's see, 2. Oh, so this just includes like the main cover here, $15.
Yep, and a PDF.
Okay, so you do get the PDF with that. I was trying to look where it said 2 items included plus optional add-on. So it's the physical copy and the PDF. Okay, it's kind of small there. Need to get my
Yeah.
going. Virtual simulation, $15. So that is what's included with this. This says 3 items. So I'm guessing you get the main cover, the PDF, and one of the other.
So you get there if it's a digital tier. So the PDFs
Okay.
of the 3 books that I've made. So you have the anthology, the
Oh.
one-shot comic, and the first issue.
Nice. And let's see. I'm going to pronounce this.
Jan Dursama.
Thank you. Thank you. You saved me. I was like, I don't want to pronounce this incorrectly. This is a badass cover here. I really like this one.
Thank you.
So same thing, the PDF and this cover.
Yep, the PDF and the cover, and then you go on. It's the same thing for the Bob Harden Virgin variant.
Nice. And I like all the prints that you have here as an option. That's really nice.
Thank you. I try to give as much as I can.
Yeah. And it's nice. I like the different options available too, Oh, nice. So you do the original art. So you could get
Yep.
the inked bust sketch, $100. Pretty nice there for unique art. And then the 10-inch prototype statue. That's interesting there. That was what you were showing further down here.
Yep. So it's a prototype.
And his dog, right?
Yeah, it's a prototype statue of these characters, and it's going to be one thing I'm going to be printing 3D.
Nice.
3D print. So the design is finished. I can take it to the 3D shop, whoever is offering that service, and get print one, send it off to you. It'll be sent in like 5 pieces. So it'd be like, the cloth loin, the part that waves out in the front and the back will be 2 pieces. The dog, it will be as a third. Sondron with the sword is 4th, and then you have the base. So
Okay, but it's something simple that a layman like myself could piece together.
Yeah. It's got like the how do you call them, like holes, like the little keyholes where you can sockets or something, and you can just like push it in with just a little glue, and I always love statues, so I wanted to offer that as one. And plus, I will be giving, because if funded, I will be giving the artwork that I drew for that statue design away to one backer.
Oh, very nice. And then, of course, the commissions there. That's really nice.
Then you can own the Jim Dursama one for like $300, $350. I think it's $300.
Yeah, $300 here. And then you have Force Play 9, the 9 original pages there. So that includes all 9 of the original pages.
So the bonus story that's in this issue is all the pages for that. You're getting the cover plus the story itself.
Dang.
Yeah, penciled and inked. Like, I have those pages sitting in my portfolio.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. All right. Real quick, too, I've kind of been curious to ask a creator like yourself. Let me go ahead and hide that real quick, too. with I'm sure you heard the latest announcement about Ripascend, where he's going to offer his services to kind of fulfill different creators' campaigns and whatnot. What are your thoughts on that? Just is that something that just kind of seems like, why why bother? Like, why not do
Well,
it yourself? Or
correct me if I'm wrong. If I heard that right, you're basically telling me that Eric July is giving jobs, like freelance gigs for people to work on his stuff in his Rippaverse.
well, it's actually, he announced this the other day. He is going to because he has the facility, the warehouse, the everything in place to ship out products. He is offering his services to creators to he said publish, but I'm not sure to what extent he means publish. But to publish and then ship out, do the fulfillment aspect of a crowdfunder. To me, it seems like, unless you're doing something on a massive scale like he's doing, it seems like it would just really cut into, one of the smaller indie creators' profits. But I mean, I don't know.
Maybe it is an opportunity. I mean, like, if he is, doing that, it could be an opportunity for somebody who wasn't being seen before to get seen through, through what he's offering it. And, I'd say that's, on a positive note, like, if some, because nobody's perfect. People are going to do
Yeah.
right, people are going to do wrong. But if the guy, is giving some opportunities to these people, whether that being seen, then I think that's important because we're as comic creators, if we're all in this together, and if there's one person that's gonna reciprocate that kindness, by trying to get us seen, I think that is important, to recognize.
Yeah, I hope it is going to be more of a means to support, the smaller indie creator. I hope it's just not a means of kind of uh, bilking money out of a
Yeah,
creator, because it's, as we were talking about earlier with costs and everything, you don't really want to eat into your profits. So
yeah.
um, it'll be interesting to see how everything turns out. But I think we're about ready to wind down here. Is there anything that you would like to share in passing before we call it an evening?
I appreciate everyone listening in. And if you guys need to find me, I'll be Zachary's Art on Twitter and Instagram. And if you're interested, I really hope that you back Voyage. The book is pretty much done. Once the funding goal hits, like, I'll be heading into the final stages of this book, and everybody will be get it just within a couple months.
Nice.
So I'd say give it a shot. What do you got to lose?
Yeah, I mean, it looks like a great comic. Like I said, that I like the story, the premise of it. I like a good sci-fi tale, and the art looks very, just very intriguing, nice to look at. And let's see here. And I did put the link actually in the chat. It should be pinned to the chat. So please, if anyone would like considering backing, please do so. The link is there. And again, as Zachary mentioned, please consider following him on Twitter. We can keep up to date on all your latest projects and see all your your art postings and everything. So I think I need to call it quits so I don't pass out on my keyboard here. But thank you. I just wanted to say thank you so much for joining me, Zach. I had a lot of fun talking about aliens. It's always kind of interesting to delve into that topic. And I wanted to thank everyone in the chat who came and stopped by, watched the show and everything. My good buddy, Tattooed Biker, please consider subscribing to his channel. You won't regret it. He has some good stuff on there. Anything else in passing? Aliens?
I'm so high. I'm so high.
It's like you take a hit, you're like, I immediately regret my decision.
Yo,
I was like, yeah, pounding this.
Yeah, you were asking me questions. I'm like, oh shit, I gotta think of a good answer. Like,
We're supposed to be just having a good time. Dang it, you're making me think in words and stuff. Dang it. But yes, thank you everyone for joining. If you want to hang out for a few minutes, Zackary, I'm just gonna play the outro and everything.
Okay.
But thank you everyone for stopping by. I will be gone next week. I'm going to try to maybe put out another review. We'll see how everything goes. Time always gets away from me. That seems to be the way of things. But thank you so much, everybody. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.
50 sets off for me. I've had enough. Get the hell out of my house. In Jesus' name, I pray.